Let's say I wake up tomorrow and I need a car. Like, I don't have the luxury of spending 3 months looking for a car, waiting for the perfect deal. I need a car to move around and get to work right now. What would I actually do? And that's the point of this video today. It's not gonna be a theory. It's not a textbook car buying advice video, because I made one of those, but those are made for perfect situations where you have that time to do the research and get the perfect car. This is gonna be the exact sequence that I would go through if I had to go from nothing to having a car in my driveway as fast as possible without getting taken advantage of. So let's get right into it, y'all. If you're new to the channel, welcome to Zigiwik, where we do this VOVs, talking about cars, a little bit of life, but mainly just the cars. We're not gonna waste no time here. So before I even open a car listing, I need to actually know two things, and it's gonna be very important. It's gonna determine a lot of cars that I can get or a lot of cars that I cannot get. What is my actual budget and what do I actually need? And I wanna be really specific about my budget, because most people do their budgeting wrong. Your budget is not the monthly payment. Your budget is a total overall number. The maximum that you are gonna spend on a car all in. Not what type of payments you can afford, but what can you actually spend in total without changing how you live? That's how I look at it. And here's why I feel like this matters. Because dealerships, they'll sell you a payment, not the car. Like, if you walk in right now and you tell them, I'm trying to stay around $400 a month, they will find you a $400 a month payment on a $35,000 car with a 72-month loan. And they did exactly what you asked for. You just bought a $35,000 car when you thought you were being responsible. So the first thing I do is make sure I sit down and figure out the real number that I'm looking for. What can I actually afford to spend? And that number is gonna be my ceiling. And everything that I do from here on stays within that ceiling. The next thing that I would lock in before I even start looking is, what do I actually need? And I need you to be honest with yourself right here, because this is not a what I want. This is what do I need the car to do right now. Like I said, you're not in a position where you can look around and you have the luxury of time. You need this car. So it's not about a want, it's about why do you need this car, that you need to have a car as soon as possible. How many miles are you gonna put on the car in a year? Do you have to commute far for work? Do I need the cargo space? Do I need specific seating because of my family? Or does this car just need to start every morning and get me from A to B? This varies a lot. If you need cargo space, maybe you need a pickup truck. If you got a big family, maybe you need a minivan. You see what I'm saying? This helps you pinpoint exactly where you need to be looking in the car market. I'd come up with maybe a 3 criteria must-haves. Everything else is a preference, not a requirement. And I'd make myself stick to it, because the moment you start to shop emotionally and look at cars where it's like, I need this, but I want this car, I really like how this looks, that's when you start to bend your budget, because you start to make exceptions for yourself. You need to make a strict criteria and just follow it. People walk in with a hard number all the time and walk out thousands over because of heated seats or some fancy visors that they want. You see it all the time. You have to know your budget and you have to know your criteria. And now that you have these locked in, you can actually start looking at cars. And where would I look first? Come on, man. We've made these videos before. I'm going private party. I'm going on Marketplace. Maybe Craigslist, maybe Car Gurus, private listings. But I'm not going to a dealership, not yet. I'm not going to a dealership yet. And here's my logic. A private seller isn't paying for a lot. They're not paying for staff. They're not paying to recondition the car. They're not paying to advertise it all over the place. All of that overhead is gonna be included in the price that you buy a car from a dealership with. They have to turn a profit. They're literally running a business. They have people on payroll. All these different things get factored in to each sale that they make. But private party is not perfect, so don't get it twisted. You're not gonna be getting warranty, and you need to do your due diligence when looking at these cars. And before I even start messaging anybody, and before you even start messaging anybody, you have to do your market research. First of all, I'm gonna go on Kelley Blue Book. That's a number one, looking at the average price that these cars are going for. What's the price range looking like? And then I'm gonna look at 20 to 30 private listings for a specific car I want and a specific mileage range that I'm targeting. By the time you're done with this, you already know what the car is worth at every condition level. You know what a good deal is gonna look like. You know what too cheap looks like, because too cheap normally means that something is wrong, guys. This is cars, this is real life. If something is too good to be true, take it as it is. That research is maybe gonna take you 2 hours, but don't rush it. Take your time. If it takes you 4 hours, do what you gotta do, but it turns you from a buyer into a buyer who actually knows what they're talking about. And that is completely different when it's gonna come down to negotiating a better deal. Let's say you did all of this and you found a car that you want. What do you do before you show up? The first thing you need to do is you need to run the VIN. Carfax or auto check, it does not matter. Find a reputable VIN running website and run the VIN. Look at the accident history, look at the number of owners, the service records, all of that stuff. If the VIN comes back and it's not looking good, don't even negotiate. Don't even ask questions. Just go to the next car. Don't waste your time. If it's clean, then you want to get on the phone and message them. Ask questions. Don't just go out there blindly. Ask specific things you need to know. Is the title clean? Is the title in your name? Are there any lights on the dash? Are there any known issues? Any recent repairs? Why are you selling the car? If it's so good, then why are you selling the car? Those answers are going to tell you a lot before you even go see the car in person, because the type of person you're buying a car from is going to matter a lot, because that tells you if the car is taken good care of or if it was neglected. Now that you're at the car, what am I going to be looking at? The first thing you need to do is an exterior walk around. Go around the whole car, and I went over this already. Look at your panel gaps, look at rust, look for paint differences. Maybe a panel was reworked. If you got fresh paint on one door but not on the others, that's gonna tell you a little bit of information about the car. Then you wanna go ahead and pop the hood. You do not wanna go there and the buyer already has the car warmed up. If you have to meet them somewhere, then I guess that's an exception because they have to drive it there. But typically you want to look at a car while it's cold. Look for the dipstick, look at the oil level, look at the oil color. Make sure it's not milky. Milky is gonna mean that there's coolant in the oil. You do not want that. Check the coolant reservoir. Make sure it's not empty or discolored. Then you wanna test drive the car. And you're not just gonna go around the block real quick and take your time and talk to the dealer and all these little things. You're going there to make sure this car is good. You're gonna try to drive it, get on the highway, go to highway speeds, do some hard braking, some hard turns. You listen for anything that should not be there. Any pull to one side, when you press on the brake, does the steering wheel shake? All those small things. Look at the gauges. Look if it's overheating. Are the RPMs dropping weirdly? Are the mile per hours working? All these things you need to look at during the test drive. Because you only get one of these, maybe two if you ask for another one, but you get one test drive to really try to narrow down that this car is good for you. If everything checks out and you're serious about this car, you're gonna wanna get a pre-purchase inspection from a shop before you hand over any type of money. And I don't care how clean it looks, this is the best car you ever seen. Spend the money, spend $200, get a mechanic to actually go out there with you and look at this car. If you know somebody who's a mechanic and you can get them to do this for free, that's even better. But assuming you don't, pay the bread. It's $200. Even if you lose it and you don't buy that car, at least you have the peace of mind. You save yourself thousands of dollars later on. And that's not really optional in my opinion. That is just a part of the process. Do not make that mistake of getting a car blindly and then a couple months later all these problems show up and you wonder why you're in a money pit because you did not do your due diligence before. Now, let's say this car checks out. This is going to be the fun part, negotiation. And this is the part that a lot of people get wrong about it. They treat it like it's a confrontational type of situation, like somebody has to lose. When you're negotiating, you want to go in there with a number that you're willing to pay based on market research that you already did before, and then you make that silence do the work. Sometimes you need to think. You're gonna give a number, you have to expect them to want to think about it. Don't get awkward. They might be silent for a little bit. They might push back. And you need to understand why they're pushing back. Are they telling you that the car is worth more? Or are they just seeing if you'll just take their offer on a dime? The move you never want to make is telling them your ceiling. If you say I can only go as high as $14,000, then they'll find a way to get it to $14,000. You know what I'm saying? Like if the ceiling is $14,000, that's the most you want to pay, and that person is trying to sell the car for the most you're trying to pay, then they want that whole $14,000. So the number you want to say is a lot lower than the ceiling. Maybe start at $12,000, work your way up. Maybe y'all will meet in the middle at like $13,000. You win because you spent less than you expected, and they win because they got more than they expected. Everybody walks away happy. Not everybody has to lose in a negotiation. And let's talk financing, because I know a lot of people leave a lot of money on the table with this and they don't even realize it, man. If you're financing a car, the single most important number that you need to know before you do anything else is your credit score. You don't want to know the sticker price. You don't need to know the monthly payment. You need to know your credit score, because your credit score is what's going to determine your interest rate. And your interest rate is what determines what you actually pay for a car. So let me give you all an example. Two people want to buy the same car for $25,000 on a 60-month loan, right? One of these people has a 720 credit score, and let's say they get a 6% rate on their loan. The other person has a 580 credit score and they get a 14% interest rate. That's the difference between $483 a month and $581 a month on the same exact car and the same exact loan term. The only difference is a credit score, and that $100 a month, that's close to $6,000 extra paid on the exact same car. So if you know what you're doing before financing, your credit score is step one. Before you look at any listings, before you test drive anything, you need to know exactly where you stand credit score wise. And if your credit score isn't where it needs to be, that is actually fixable, guys. It just takes working with the right people to get you where you need to be. And what I recommend you do is head over to my boy Gene at MTH and get an evaluation on your credit score. He does credit repair for people every single day, raising their scores by hundreds of points. So make sure you go down below and press the link in the description and sign up for your 30-minute free consultation where he'll look at your actual situation and tell you straight up what's possible and how long it's going to take to get your credit score to where it needs to be. There's no pressure on this. There's no pitch. There's no catch. It's just a real conversation about whether credit repair makes sense for you. And fixing your credit before you finance a car could save you thousands of dollars. And if you get on a call with him, make sure you tell him that Zigiwik sent you over there. And now, assuming your credit score is solid, here is the move for financing. You want to get pre-approved from your bank or credit union before you even step foot into a lot. Dealerships, finance exists to make money, not to save you money. They'll mark up a rate from what the bank is actually offering, and that spread is going to be pure profit for them. Walk in there with a pre-approval and you flip that power dynamic. Now, that's your real leverage. That's the difference between being a customer and being somebody that's in control of the deal. And if you're at a dealership, the finance office is where deals can tend to go wrong. They're gonna go fast, they're gonna add everything to it. They're gonna add extended warranty, gap coverage, paint protection, tire and wheel coverage. Some of it is worth it depending on your situation and what you want, but most of it is just complete BS. The move is simple. Slow them down, ask them what each thing costs and exactly what it covers. Get it in writing if you have to do it, and understand that you can say no to every single thing and still possibly drive the car home. Like, none of this stuff is required. Don't let them paste the pressure onto you and try to force a decision that you haven't really thought through yet. That's $2,000 that you can overpay on a car just because you didn't take the extra time to think about what you're actually signing up for. And look, guys, as we close out this video, the person who runs through this sequence is not the same customer as a person who just shows up and figures it out as they go. They might drive away in the same car, but one of them gets a deal and one of them gets upcharged. So if you have to buy a car tomorrow, this is exactly what I would do. And none of this is complicated. It just requires you to do some work before you show up, and that gives you the edge that you need. So make sure y'all drop in the comments, are you in the market for a car right now? Or is there something in this process that you've gotten burned on before? Because trust me, I've been there, it sucks. So that is exactly why I make these videos. And make sure y'all go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe as we close out this video, man. I love each and every single one of y'all. If you haven't already, buy TSX and travel, y'all. Be safe out there. Good luck in your car journeys, and let me know down below in the comments if there's any extra tips that y'all would recommend to somebody else that's buying a car tomorrow. I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip. Peace.